Hey everyone, just wanted to show off my latest pre-war acquisition and a project I picked up that I really didn't need, but I found a slide for this engine when I saw it. So this is a Lionel 259E, got the original boxer there, which did come with it. I was at a local antique mall and happened to see it in case at one of the booths. I had seen it there a few months ago actually, so they wanted $45 for it, and it was in a pretty sorry state. The paint was pretty much either non-existent, just bare metal in some areas, or rusted, especially towards the cab area at the back. And it is missing the pilot truck, as you can see. I have to get into one of those, but everything else, I mean, it was just the locomotive, no tender, and then the box. But I mean, at least body-wise, it was pretty sad. Thankfully, all the copper is there, everything else, all the trim, so that made me kind of think about it before when I saw it. I was like, well, maybe I could clean it up and repaint it, but you know, they wanted, like I said, 45, so I kind of thought about it, and I left, and I went back yesterday, and it was still there, and they had a sale for 20% off, so it was actually 36, so it's kind of like, for 36, maybe I can give it a try. So I had a weak moment, and I picked it up, and figured, okay, we'll try and give it some love out. You know, I could use it a little bit more pre-war, I figured, and I mean, it's a very pretty engine, especially now the way it looks, and I just wanted to give it a better home. I think I'm like a mom of cats almost, you know, using the cat because, oh, it needs a good home. It's like that of trains almost. But anyways, so I picked it up, brought it home, and started assessing it. I'm going to cut here to a slideshow of pictures and some video when I first got it, showing the condition of it, but it wasn't. It looked better in the case almost, and I'll explain more in the video. And once I had gotten it out of the case, and then eventually once I got home looking over things, especially, you know, condition-wise, I was kind of like, what did I get myself into? But, I mean, as the end result you can see here, it did come out pretty good. So, we'll go ahead and cut for that. I'll show you those pictures, everything else, and we'll get back to here, and we'll show how it looks now, and we'll go over it running. So here you can see the engine in the display case at the antique mall, how I found it. Looking kind of sorry and honestly begging for me to take it home. So, got it home, got on the layout, and I guess not really to my surprise, at least from the little bit that I looked at, I did power on, and it ran. Actually, it ran pretty okay. I gave it some oil, and it ran around seemingly just fine. So once I did a few laps of it, I of course took it over to the bench and started kind of assessing it a bit more. And that's when I noticed a few more problems with it. I mean, you could see here, I mean, there was a lot of rust on the side of the cab here. The roof was pretty bad. I mean, the bottom of the frame, there's just bare metal down there. But once I flipped it over, one of the big issues became apparent. I don't know how this happened. It was dropped, or it must have, maybe it had just sat in the box. Maybe the box got damp and just cut rotted them a little bit. But the flanges, all four flanges on the drive wheels at the same spot are kind of worn down flat in an area, you know. So I'm not sure exactly how it happened, but it's something I didn't notice there too at the antique mall. Probably maybe would have stopped me from buying it had I noticed it wasn't, you know, the way the drivers were. Of course, it looked fine when I picked it up. It wasn't until I did a full rotation I saw that. I was kind of like, But thankfully, there's enough on there where it stays on the track just fine. I've ran it both directions of 27 or 31 curves. I haven't tried switches. I usually don't with the pre-war stuff. But it does run fine, so I was very, very worried once I saw that, and honestly kind of panicked. So before I show the restoration, I want to show a few pictures of the box too, which is really cool. Just all the advertisements on the side, and I mean, it's not your typical, I mean, most people think of the Lionel boxes as those orange boxes, but I mean, this predates this. I mean, I believe this engine's from probably the late 20s, early 30s, I want to say. And it does have the original insert as well, which is cool, so it does, everything, you know, fits inside of there. You've got advertisements on the side for the 258, their multi-volt transformers. One of the end flaps is still intact with the full product info, or name and description. So I started disassembling the engine and the bench. The main goal was to get all the copper and brass trim off before painting, which ended up being a pretty big pain to get a lot of the tabs out, because of course once they're folded down they're pretty flat inside the body, so it was a lot of work with a X-Acto knife and some pliers, but I managed to get everything removed, safely stored away. The valve gear is riveted on, so I just masked that off when I went to paint it. And then before I painted it here too, I did take a Dremel and clear up a lot of the surface rust areas you can see along the sides and the pilot. I did try and clear up a lot of those areas before painting and kind of make sure at least it was pretty bare there. And then I shot it just with some spray can of Rust-Oleum satin black, which I happen to have, which seemed to be a pretty decent color for it. This isn't a professional paint job on it. Just wanted to get some new paint on it and of course cover up all the rust and bare metal. I just wanted to make it look better than it was before. It's definitely not a professional job by any means. Anyways, brought it back inside, and once it was dry, pulled the masking off and started reapplying all the copper trim, which went back on much easier. I didn't paint the smoke box door. I left that original because it wasn't too bad. There's a few small rust spots I'll have to touch up, but I mean, it also saved me from removing all the extra trim and then the inserts for all the different colors in the front, so I decided to leave it original for now. It matches pretty decently with the rest of the body. But as you can see, the end result, it's a much happier looking locomotive. Alright, so without further ado, let's go and get it running. One final thing I wanted to show I almost forgot about is all the cool little lighting effects the engine has. There's a bunch of colored film inserted. On the front you've got a red and green marker light, and then you've also got this 259E number board up on the top. And then also on the smokestack there's a some red clear film as well, I guess, to kind of simulate a fire inside of there. So it's a very simple little effect, but it's very cute, and especially at night it looks really cool. So, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.